Hello everyone and welcome to another scrapbook layout process video where today I'm embracing a lot of bright colors here. Now this is some of the paper that is left over from my Ocean Friends scrapbook guide, so I thought I would make a double page layout today using some of these scraps so that I can use them up. You can see the other side of this has the orange tones, but I think today I am just going to concentrate on the pink tones, and I'm also going to do a little bit of ink blending as well. So you can see there's lots of gorgeous patterns in this. I love the reverse side of these because they have a tone on tone look. So I'm thinking, because I've got strips cut like this, I'm going to bring in some white willow for the bases. And I'll just move that over. I love having the choice of two different tones of white. The white willow is a brighter white and the basic white is a little bit more creamy, and that is so suitable for different paper packets, but I think the white willow works really well with this. So I'm just thinking of having strips of this so that you get little peaks of it so that it doesn't overwhelm the layout. And then I've only got this one long strip of this one, so I'm going to cut this one in half so that I can extend it over to this side. Or maybe I will just leave it like this because I've actually found another piece and I can introduce that as a little spot down here. I've got another strip. I'm just seeing what will balance out. So as I said, these are offcuts. I will put the link to that scrapbooking guide down below so you can check out all the layouts that I've made with that. It was so fun to create those. So I'll just turn this over so you can see there's two different patterns here with these smaller icons. And I do have one full sheet of the lobsters and the crabs that I could die cut, but I think for this I'm just going to use the smaller ones. But I'm sort of loving this sort of look to go across the page. So I'm going to do a little bit of trimming to see what I can come up with, because I think I'm going to trim this piece down a little as well to put over on this side so it is a 12-inch strip. So I've cut some strips here. The first one was a leftover piece, so this one I didn't have to cut. It's just over 1/4 of an inch. This next piece I cut from the solid piece, and that measures at 4 inches, so that's going to go up against here. The remaining part of that is about 2 1/4 inches, and I've cut a 1-inch strip of the starfish piece here. I'm not going to ink the edges of this one because I'm thinking I just want a nice clean fresh layout. I'm just going to rotate this because I like my zeros to be in the top left corner. So this piece is going to go along here. Just going to rotate that so that the patterns sort of match up. Mainly this is because of the wave at the bottom. I just find it sort of pleasing if you can match the pattern up across, even though it's a long way from the left piece to the right piece. So where did this one go? So that is going to lie down there with a bit of a white edge. I'm not going to put it flush to the page. And this piece here, I've decided not to trim that down. It is a 2-inch strip, and I am just going to lay that on top of here. So this is basically how the layout's going to look with the foundation parts, with the pattern pieces. And then I'm going to do a focal photo on this side. I have matted this in Pool Party. I was going to do it in Melon Mambo, but I like the softness of the blue because there's a lot of colour going on here. And then I think a portrait 6x4. I do like mixing up the orientations on some photos. So these are going to go across like that. And then you remember I have these 2 strips left over from my cutting guide. So this one measures at 2 1/4 by 5 3/4, and this one is 2 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to put one as a little bit of a landing strip for this side. And I think that's going to work quite well. It brings the pattern in from the left side to the right side without making it look too matchy-matchy by putting another strip of this over here. And then I'm just wondering, do I frame out this side? I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this. Or do I put like a little anchor strip here? I actually quite like the look of that. Now the other thing I'm going to bring in is some ink blending on some tags. And then I have the Ocean Friends stamp set and dies, so you can get these as a bundle. Oh, I've got some leftover little letters in here. This will be left over from my scrapbook guide, I think. I'm going to see if I can spell anything with those and maybe do a little bit of a cheat title with something that I've got left over. I'm definitely going to bring in this coral piece to put across here. I'll probably die cut a few of those in white, and then I'm going to do some ink blending on camera with you. And I love these little starfish, so I'm going to die cut some of those as well. Let's see, what have I got? Oh, I've got weird looking letters left over. I don't think I can make a title out of those. So I'm just going to scooch those off to the side and put them in storage, because I'm thinking with the Link Together stamp set, which came out in January, and I haven't actually used this one. It comes with dies and a stamp set, and I am going to do some layouts with this diamond one here, and I love the lattice. But I thought a happy day would be really good as a title. So I know when you look at these, you sort of think of a card sentiment style of thing. However, when you look at them a little bit closer, there is definitely an opportunity to use them on a scrapbook layout. I've adhered those pieces down. So this is the foundation of the actual layout here with the strips with my photo mats, and I've decided to move this strip over from this side to this one just to balance off the left page and bring a little bit more colour up into this spot. So now I get to sort of the fun stuff where I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending. So you can see I've cut a 6-inch tag here. Now I have a very old tag punch from Stampin' Up, but it's quite easy to create your own custom ones. And I have run this through one of my favorite embossing folders, which is the Soft Waves 3D embossing folder. So I've run that through sort of in a vertical position, so it looks like I've got the waves going across, and I've also cut some circles here with Melon Mambo, and I've used the Stylish Shapes dies because they have a really good range of 3-inch and down circles for that. And then I've done exactly the same thing with these and run them through that same Soft Waves embossing folder. Now I've got one of the circles here cut in white willow that I'm going to stamp my title on, I'm thinking. And I've gone ahead and I've cut quite a few of the coral pieces and the starfish. The coral pieces I'm going to do some blending on, and I've cut starfish out of Melon Mambo and white willow here. So what I'm going to do for my blending, I was thinking of bringing in Melon Mambo from the bottom here. I do think it might give a good contrast to the blue tag. I'm just going to hold this over and see if I can eyeball it sort of. Just going to turn this sideways because I just want a little bit of colour coming up from the bottom. This is going to be where my journaling is going. So I'm just going to ink this up and tap it off and just bring a little bit of the Melon Mambo up. Now, sometimes it doesn't look like much is happening when you're doing this, but I think there's going to be just enough pink on there to introduce it. I don't want to make it too strong, as I said before, and I just want it to come up just a little bit and around the edges. I don't need very much ink at all on this piece. And I actually really love how that looks. I think that's going to work really well on the layout. So just to give you an idea, that's where this is going to go on the layout, and then the journaling is going to go on top of that. I'm just going to put Melon Mambo away and open up Pool Party. And I'm going to bring in a different sheet of copy paper because I don't want any of this pink to come off onto my coral pieces here. So all I want to do is introduce just a light bit of Pool Party here. And I'm going to make sure that I hold these and support them. I'm coming up the edges here. So you can see there's more ink grabbing hold of the edges, and that's creating a really lovely look. And now I've tapped quite a lot off of the Pool Party, and I'm bringing it up into more areas of this coral here. So you can be as heavy-handed or as light-handed as you want to be with these pieces, but I think that gives a lovely tone to it. So if I put it on the white there, you can see that looks really gorgeous. So now I'm just going to do exactly the same thing with these other two pieces. And while I've got my Pool Party out, I'm going to stamp my title. So I'm thinking a happy day, but I'm not sure if it's going to fit across this circle here. So let me just get that out and have a look. Put this on a block, and it's brand new. I haven't used this before, and there's always some residue left from the processing. So this is called seasoning your stamp, if you haven't seen that before. Then I'm going to get a Post-it note, and I'm going to just mask off the day here. Just lift this up so I can make sure I've got this in the right position. And then I'm going to ink this up. And my Post-it note just fell off then. So there's not too much stick left on that, I don't think. So I love how that looks. I'm just going to put that back on again. See if I can get that to adhere just a little bit better. I'm going to adhere it to the actual block. I'll press it down a little bit, because I don't want any of the ink going on the day at all. So I'll just hold it like this, wrap it around. I could just try and ink this bit up without the Post-it note. That would work too. But sometimes I don't quite trust myself. So this one is going to go here. This is going to be tucked down under a little bit of the photo. I've just noticed I've got some ink there, so I need to wipe that off. So I am putting it up towards the top section of this circle. And then I need to clean off my stamp. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap this Post-it note around the Oh Happy, so I can just ink up the day. I'm going to do a little trial run. That's looking pretty good. Take that away. I'm going to nestle it in amongst this A Happy. So stamp that down. And I love how that just looks like it has been written beautifully on there. Now I've just noticed I've got a little bit of ink on here, and I think it's from my fingers. So I'm going to have to cut this circle and do that again. But you get the idea of what I was trying to achieve there. And that is going to go onto one of these circles here. So I'm just going to redo this, clean my fingers so I don't get the ink everywhere, and then ink up the rest of these coral pieces. So I've got all my blending, my die cutting is done. I did add a little tag topper to this just to finish it off, and that's from the Grow with Love dies. You get these little circles in here that do just a nice little pinhole for the opening for the tag. I need to make some of these pockets up. I haven't done that as yet. I just keep using this one element from there. So I'm going to adhere this together so that just a little bit of the pool party and the texture comes through, and that is going to go across here, and I'm going to finish that off with some linen thread. So I do suggest that you use a liquid adhesive when you're adhering something that has been embossed, just because there is a lot of texture here and you really want things to adhere together. It also gives me some wiggle time, although it's pretty hot here today, so I don't have as much wiggle time as normal, and I want my little hole to line up. So there we go. That one is adhered down. Now to get this through, I am going to use a needle and just put that through. Sometimes I use a crochet hook, but it is very fine with this. So I'm just going to easily feed that through. Trim off the end. And rather than tying it directly so that it's tight here, I'm going to tie it at the ends so that I can drape it a little bit more and give it a bit of a fun look. So I'm just going to push that up just a little bit. So this is going to go across the layout like this. I actually don't mind that it folds over naturally like that. So when I adhere this down, I'm going to put my adhesive on the bottom section, and then I'll put a little glue dot underneath the knot here so it keeps everything in place. And I'm thinking of introducing some of this linen thread elsewhere on the layout. So here's my title. I managed to stamp that off camera perfectly, no smudges. So that is going to go down in this section here. And then I'm going to bring in some of this coral, and that's going to tuck down behind it. I really love how that looks. It looks so cool. And just the piercing detail in the coral elements is gorgeous. So then I'm going to put another circle over this side to balance this one here. And that is going to have a piece of coral as well. So I won't put adhesive on the sections that are going to overlap the photos, obviously, but the circles are giving these coral pieces a place to land. Now I've got another smaller one here, and I'm thinking I might put that one coming out from here and then have my coral piece coming out from behind my tag. And I've got another one. I think I might do just a little accent here. I think that will work quite well. So I'm going to chop this one in half because I quite like the thought of having an odd number of these. It's a little bit too close to that pink. So where am I going to put my other one? Maybe under this section here. That sort of tops and tails these two photo holders there. I'm really liking how this is looking. And then I need to place some of these elements. So I'm going to adhere all these sections down. But what I was thinking of doing, I'm just going to cut a length of this. Don't know if this is going to make it too busy. I'm just going to coil some up here. I'm thinking of putting some twine behind these elements. So let's see how that looks. I don't know if I love it on top of the coral piece, but maybe I could have it coming out from the side of my circle here. If I decide that I don't want to do this, I'll be able to use this twine for something else. I don't think it needs it. I think it might make it look a bit too busy. Let's see what it'll look like down in this corner here. If I lift this up and put some of that behind there, I'm going to leave that off. So I can just put this back onto the spool and use it for another tag or something else later. So I've put everything together on my page. I'm just going to hold this up. You can see that I've got those gorgeous little starfish. The piercing detail on the starfish and the coral, it's just so gorgeous, and it's a lovely little detail with that added texture. Now you can see I've adhered some of the Melon Mambo and some of the white Willow in various places, and I've brought in the neutral matte dots, which are brand new and actually in the Botanical Textures collection, and I think the white dots work really well. There's a little mini glue dot underneath here, so that will stay exactly where it's supposed to when I slide it into a page protector. And then on this side I've got that coral piece as well. So there are 3 pieces of coral. Even though there are these 2 little elements here, these are the 3 main sort of cluster elements that form the triangle to lead your eye into the photos. And just adding a little touch of blending I think really enhances those coral pieces. So this came together quite quickly, and it was from leftover pieces from the Ocean Friends that I created some scrapbook layouts from. Check in the description below for links to everything that I have used today, and also for that Ocean Friends video where I do a layout share on that one. The guide that I created from that has other layouts that I've used the Everyday Happiness papers from, but it works so well across the 2 different collections. So I created sort of similar layouts and shared them all in one video. But I love how bright and fresh this looks. I think the pool party works really well rather than having all of the mattes in Melon Mambo or choosing the pumpkin pie here. I think the blue is just soft enough to make the photos shine rather than having more of the bold colors as the photo mattes. One thing I do want to mention at the moment with the creative design team is that our membership is currently open for registration. So if you've been waiting to join us, now's the time to do it. I'll put a link for that below. We have creative classes every week, and we also have a tip video every week, and we have sketch inspiration that go along with our creative classes. Our creative classes aren't all about scrapbooking. We have card making in there as well, and a whole heap of techniques to enhance your scrapbooking and paper crafting and card making projects. So thank you once again for tuning in. Happy crafting, everyone, and bye for now.